When I first started kind of decluttering and simplifying our house, I loved watching videos about like how much people own of specific things and like little house tours and sort of behind the scenes of how other people live. So that is exactly what I'm sharing today. 10 categories of stuff in our house and how much we own of it. One caveat, one thing I want to say ahead of time is please do not compare to yourself to others in sort of like a negative way. Like, oh, maybe I should have less of that or less of that. We're absolutely gonna have different amounts of everything. Someone else is gonna have way more gardening supplies than me, or they're gonna have way more baking supplies. Then that is definitely okay. But I hope this maybe gives you some inspiration or motivation to be like, hey, maybe that's like a specific area where like I've always kept this amount of stuff because that's what my parents always had growing up, or like that's what I thought we were supposed to have, but really could I get away with less? Could we store a little bit maybe less of a specific item? And let's get into it. Category number one are like adult clothes. So basically clothes for myself and Scott, my husband. A few years ago, we took the doors off of our closet and we moved our dresser into our closet. Our bedroom is relatively small and I was struggling with like feeling kind of claustrophobic in there and I really wanted to open it up. So this I felt like worked really well. We were like very unsure. We weren't sure if it was gonna work and it's been amazing. So we have in our closet, we have one hanging rod at the top, and then we have our dresser in there, which has six drawers. So we basically split all of that in half. And that's exactly how many clothes each of us have. I don't like count my clothes, surprisingly. I feel like that is a thing, like having that minimalist wardrobe and keeping track of like, you know, having certain staple items. I have found that doesn't work great for me for whatever reason. I will say that we also do have our seasonal clothes in the basement. So each of us have, like, it's winter right now, so we have all of our like sweaters and jeans and everything out. And then in our basement right now, we each have a suitcase of like our shorts, tank tops. So that's all in our luggage right now. So we do have that. And then in the spring, we'll just do a swap and all of our like heavy sweaters and pants will go in there. And our lighter stuff will go there. Category number two are kids' clothes. And two kids, 6 and 8. Our 6-year-old is a girl, Annie Rose, and we did the exact same thing in her closet. The doors off of hers and we moved her dresser into the closet. Her room is even smaller than ours. This is like the smallest room in the house. So it makes the room way like nicer to be in and just more airy and more like relaxed. So we have her dresser in there and we actually never put a hanging rod back up for her. It'd have to be so high that she couldn't reach it, and she's at the point now where she mostly picks out her own clothes in the morning. So having just items in the dresser has worked really well at the moment. I will say that when I did like a few clips of their drawers, I'm like, yeah, we're definitely at the time of year where they've accumulated more and more winter clothes over the season. Gifts, hand-me-downs, that sort of thing. And we're both, with both kids, I feel like I am ready to let go of a few. They're just, the drawers, especially Leo's, you'll see, are just like jam-packed. Leo, who's 8, has the same dresser, but he has like a double just because that's what we got. But however, he uses only 3 drawers for clothes and the other 3 he just uses for like random treasures and like hockey cards and all the other weird stuff that 8-year-olds love to keep. He still has doors on his closet. However, we use his closet not just for like his laundry basket and some other things that we give the kids keepsakes, like their little baby boxes in there, or we keep our swim bag in there, but we don't keep any of his day-to-day clothes in there. Category 3 are books. We love reading, specifically myself and our oldest, Leo, who's 8. However, we also love the library, which means we don't own a ton of books that like we keep all the time. We live in town and we live really close to the library, and it's like a great activity that we all still really enjoy doing. With that being said, we have a lot of books in 3 spots. We have a basket in our family room, which is just off of our back door. And then we have 2 spots upstairs, 1 basket in each of the kids' rooms. So Leo has a big like wooden box that he's had for a really long time that holds all of his books. And then in Annie Rose's room, she has a bedside table that she got for Christmas this year. And the lower part of that we've designated all for her books. So usually about half of those are books that we own, and then half of them are library books, which we will just return when they're due. Category 4 are mugs, and I love coffee. I love hot drinks. I love like the whole experience of coffee. However, I don't love having a lot of mugs. We have like 2 mugs that are mine. So this one you've probably seen. Like I've had it for years and I love it. And then Scott has 2 mugs that are his. His are all just thrifted mugs that he's had for a while. And then we have 2 smaller like little pink mugs, which I would use, say if I'm having like friends over and everyone wants like a little cup of tea, or the kids love having their hot chocolate in these. Even the kids will sometimes have their smoothies in these ones. So that's what they get used for majority of the time. So for a family of 4, we have 6 mugs. Category 6 is makeup. I am very minimal with makeup. I got this makeup bag when I was probably 16. Like I think I was in grade 11 and one of my girlfriends gave it to me for Christmas. I think it was from the Gap and I thought it was so cool and it has lasted so long. It's bananas. Like obviously it has like makeup stains and stuff like that on it, but generally this has just like lived 1,000 lives. I have no idea how it's still, the zipper is still so smooth. Like, you know, zippers that, oh, it's so great. So I basically have one of everything. I have like a blush. I would say the one thing that I have that's sort of an extra is mascara primer. So I love, do you guys use primer? I think I've shared that maybe before. I started using it a few years ago and I can never go back. It's like, it just keeps the mascara on. It's like mascara glue. So then I obviously have one regular mascara. I have one concealer, one thing of foundation, an eyebrow pencil, which I use most days, and then just like my brushes. So I have like a brush for blush that again, I've got like, I think it was like an Avon party in university. So it was a while ago. And this little brush I use for my foundation that a friend gave to me. And that's it. I started wearing makeup when I was 16 with this makeup bag and I've never really expanded beyond it. Category 7 are like back stock of toiletries. So like the stuff you don't use day to day for in the bathroom, but you have to like sort of have. And we have a shelf, 2 shelves sort of in behind our door in our bathroom, and they're super shallow, which is kind of annoying, but kind of handy in that nothing ever really gets lost. You'll see in the bottom area, especially, it's not really organized. I don't have things set up too much by category. We sort of just like have one of whatever. We have nail polish remover, hair detangler. I have a little bit of extra like of my nightly moisturizer. I have like a backup of that. I have one backup of my contact solution at all times. We also have in there like all of our sunscreen, all of our bug spray. We have static cling spray. We have our first aid stuff in there. So, you know, peroxide, rubbing alcohol. I have like that calamine lotion you put on bug bites. The top part you can see is the one area I do keep slightly organized. We have our kids meds and our adult meds, because those are things where, you know, we're often reaching for in the middle of the night, and it drives me crazy to not have that stuff organized when you aren't feeling well or your family members are not feeling well. Like, you do not want to have to be like fussing around to figure out like where the kids' Tylenol is. So those are areas that I am like pretty organized in, and the rest of it is super simple. So it's really easy to find at whatever we need. Category 8 is shoes, and specifically my shoes. And I will say I was definitely on my high horse about how many shoes I thought I had. I was like, I'm pretty simple. I don't have a lot of shoes. I'm low maintenance. However, once I actually pulled everything out, I own 12 pairs of shoes. Now, I could argue that we live in an area where there are 4 very distinct seasons, which there are. You know, it gets very cold and very snowy, and it also gets extremely hot. So obviously I'm gonna have something for every season. However, I definitely had more than I expected. I need to know, like, how many shoes do you guys have? I have 12 pair. I feel like that sounds like a lot of shoes. Category 9 are towels, and I actually had to go into our linen closet and count these because I honestly had no idea. And it turns out we own 5 bath towels. So we have 2 that we always keep in like our bathroom on the hooks as they're drying while we're actually like using circulation. The other 2 we like kind of use when the other ones are being washed. And then beside that, I have a basket that has hand towels and face cloths. I will say we use way more than I kind of, I guess, imagined as a parent. I went in and counted, and I think we had between 8 and 10 hand towels and between 8 and 10 face cloths, give or take. But yeah, 5 bath towels and then like 8 to 10-ish hand towels and 8 to 10-ish face cloths. And none of them are like matching or cute. Last category, pots and pans. In our kitchen, we have one drawer that are our pots and pans we use constantly. We have one quite small one that I would say we use for sauces, or if I'm reheating like a small amount of something. We have a medium-sized one that I use mostly if I'm like steaming vegetables, or if like say we're making craft dinner, I use that one. The biggest one in that drawer that I use like 10 times a week probably. We use that for everything and anything, and I love it. And it's also oven proof, so I don't own a Dutch oven, but I use that pot. If I'm making bread, for example, I put that whole thing with the lid right in the oven and it works great. We also have 2 pans. One is like a smaller or medium-sized one that I use daily for my morning eggs usually, and then a bigger one that I would use if I'm making like a sauce or a stir fry, or if we're doing pot sticker or something like that. In our cupboard above our fridge has like a roasting pan, because I will the odd time make a whole chicken, and it has one bigger pot. So if I'm doing, say I'm making like 2 lasagnas at the same time and I want to cook all lasagna noodles, I would use that. And I also have a lid up there, which is like a huge lid for our large frying pan, which I don't use all the time, which is why I keep it up there. But it's still nice to have, because the odd time I do want to cover whatever I'm making in that pot. All right, guys, was that interesting? Is it more or less than you expected? I want to hear like what you guys own and how much, or if there's other categories that you're like wondering how much I keep of something. So as always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.